Hello Valiants, welcome to Vibrant Authentic Living. This is Nandi. Today I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite fruits, which is the coconut. Now this is the dried coconut, not to be confused with its younger sibling, the jelly coconut, or some people call it the young coconut, which check out the video on that little sibling, right? So we have the dried coconut, is the mature coconut, fully mature, so the nut, the flesh on the inside of the nut has hardened and has lots more fat, oil than the young coconut or the jelly coconut. The jelly coconut is, the skin is green or might be yellow orange, and from that we get coconut water. From this dry coconut we get the coconut milk. So make sure you know the difference. This is coconut milk. This is freshly made 5 minutes ago. I whipped it up in my Nutritious, and I'm going to take you through the process. Here is a full bottle of rich, thick, creamy, sweet coconut milk. Now there are different varieties of coconuts. In my right hand I am holding what we call the native coconut, which is my favorite coconut because it is much sweeter. It's easier to handle when you break it, because coconuts in general are hard. You can hear, right? It's very tough. You can knock someone out with this. But the native, I find that when you try to husk it, when you try to get to the inside, the meat as we call it, it's easier to crack. You just hit it a couple times, maybe on a rock, or take the hammer and it will open. And I'll show you. So this was a native. This is what I got the coconut milk from. The native. How you know the native is pointed? It's oblong. This is what we call the dwarf coconut. It's round. See that? The dwarf is round and the inside is tougher to me. The dwarf coconut tree is short by comparison, and the native grows very, very high up. So as you can see, I was able to get the nut from the shell of the native pretty easily. When you just take the knife and pry it a little, see how it comes out without any agitation. It just comes out clean. That's how the native comes out from the shell. The dwarf, I find you have to go through a lot more, you have to kind of dig it with the knife. So I prefer the native. It's much sweeter. It's easier to chew as well. I went through a coconut phase a couple years back. Still have lots of jelly coconut. Sorry, but I went through a phase where I was having so much dried coconut, and I used to go to the market and I used to get lots of native. Every day I would have maybe 1 or 2 native coconuts. I used to just husk them, get the nut, and just eat. It's very nice, very sweet. I used to eat coconut until my jawbone hurt. We'll get to why, because I'm going to tell you all the benefits of the coconut, which are many. The coconut is one of those trees. A coconut tree is one of those trees that people refer to as a tree of life, because almost every part of the tree is useful. The coconut water is similar to the blood plasma, and from my research, it is said that the coconut water can actually be used to replace blood plasma in, let's say you need an emergency blood transfusion. The coconut water is sterile, nature has filtered it, and the composition is pretty similar to the plasma in your blood. So coconut water has been used for that. It's full of electrolytes to replenish, to hydrate you. The water from this, because this has, you can hear it shaking, this has water but not as much as when it was young. The young coconut or the green coconut has a whole lot of water. Filtered, pure, clean, refreshing, sweet water. And then you can scoop out what we call the meat, the jelly meat, the flesh of the nut. Right, so I used to eat tons of these, and it really hurt my bone, my jawbone, right? But the coconut, the bark of the tree is used in construction and for catching fire. The nut itself, the shell, is used in making jewelry. So they'll just smooth down the outside, they'll make earrings, they'll make bracelets, amulets, and ornaments, even utensils, cups, because if you notice the shape, if you are able to break the coconut in such a way that you don't ruin the integrity of the shell, you can make cups, you can make plates to eat out of. And the coconut, the flesh itself now is used, it's full of oil. We get coconut oil from the flesh of the coconut. So traditionally you would traditionally our parents would get the coconut from the shell and grate it. Get a grater, a metal grater, and grate the coconut. It takes some skill and it takes some strength. And sometimes, as children, as we would practice to do that, sometimes you rub off your thumb on the grater until you got it right. But that's how our parents had to do it before the blender was accessible. And so they would grate and they would squeeze out the coconut milk. If you just grate and squeeze, you'll get a very thick milk like this one. This is very thick and creamy. Or you can add some water to it and agitate it a bit to get all of that milky substance out, and then you strain it. And in Jamaica, rice and peas must have coconut milk in it. You Sunday rice and peas, that's what we grew up on. Coconut milk, the stew, red pea soup, different pea stew, coconut. Coconut just has a unique flavor that it adds to all manner of food, from beverages, rice and peas, pastry, the list goes on. Now we have confectionery that we call coconut cake, coconut drops. So what we do, when you remove, so this is the trash, because even the trash is useful, right? When you remove, strain out the juice from this, or even if you don't want to strain out the juice, you can use the trash. Once you grate it, use that same trash, add some sugar. Of course, you know, I don't promote the use of sugar now, but I'm telling you what we did traditionally to make different kinds of confectionery. One of the things I loved when I was little, I remember going to the country in St. Mary, and our relatives there, they would catch the janga, the shrimp, kind of shrimp in the river, and then they would boil it down in coconut milk with pepper and seasoning, and that tasted very good. To make the oil, you would get the coconut milk, right? So you get the coconut milk, strain out the fiber, and just boil that milk down. Boil it down, and the oil naturally will rise to the top, and then you skim that off. There are processes of making the coconut oil now that does not even require boiling. Cold compress to get virgin coconut oil or extra virgin coconut oil with very little heat, if any heat at all. And of course, you know, that would be the best. Right, so the uses of this plant are so many and so varied. It's a very versatile plant, right? So let's talk about what we get from the coconut. So as I mentioned, the water, which you have water in the young coconut and still have some in the dry coconut. It's sweeter in the dry coconut. As is now, it has more fat, more oil in the water itself, as well as the flesh, because it has had more time to mature on the tree. It has lots of fiber. So if you eat the coconut, just take it and eat it as is, you will get lots of dietary fiber to move that move the food down the digestive tract very efficiently, and so as to avoid constipation. Alright, the coconut is full of carbohydrates, fats, vitamin C, folates, which is excellent for persons who are planning to be pregnant or already pregnant. Folate is an excellent nutrient to have. The coconut has iron, magnesium, potassium, selenium, and the coconut helps to speed up your metabolism. So for those who are watching their weight, coconut is definitely one of those foods that will help, because you know, the more your metabolism, the higher your metabolism, the more you use up the food. That the more you put the quicker you process the food, and the quicker you utilize the food. The coconut is anti-inflammatory, which means that it quells inflammation in the system. It soothes the system. And when we say inflammation, we mean things like any kind of irritation in the system, fevers, rashes, mucus, pain, soreness, tightness, stiffness. All of those things are symptoms of inflammation. And coconut, whether whichever way you want to have it, whether the liquid or you're going to eat it or whatever, it will soothe the system, right? It's also antifungal and antibacterial, and coconut has been found to decrease stomach ulcers, right? So it soothes the digestive tract, and you know, the fiber also helps the entire digestive tract to work smoothly. Alright, now the coconut, apart from its culinary uses, as I mentioned, we use it in so many other ways to decorate the house, to decorate the body, and that is why in so many cultures, it's a tropical plant, but in so many cultures around the world, the coconut is the plant, the whole plant itself, the tree itself is referred to as the tree of life, the life-giving tree. And you know, the coconut has come to symbolize island living, tropical living. You know, when you see a picture of an island in the sea, in the tropics, you know you're bound to see a coconut tree, right, on that picture or on that whatever it is, video, picture, whatever. So the coconut is very symbolic. It's symbolic of life and natural living and being one with nature, all of that good stuff, right? So I am madly in love with this plant, and it's something I recommend, you know, for you as long as you can have it. The coconut is very durable, as you can see, right? It's tough, so it will last for a good while. Once you see the three, we call them eyes, 3 eyes. Once you don't let anything puncture, because these are the weak spots, I would say. Once you don't let anything puncture here or knock it really hard and get a crack for air to get in, this is what we call hermetically sealed by nature. The water has been filtered by nature. It's sterile, it's sweet, and it's full of goodness, right? So highly recommended. All right, so I'll close out with my coconut milk. Cheers. All right, so until next time, this is Nandi, and if you want to support the channel, just go on over, follow the link below, go to Patreon and become a supporter. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do so now and share the videos so others may benefit from the information and come on board and start making healthier choices. So I'll see you in the next video.